Hello, everybody. How you doing? Let's see if I go over here. So, my name's John Limcool. Hello. Hello. Oh, Taquita wants to say hello to everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Yay. Here, Taquita, you want to dance? She doesn't want to dance, but she will. Let's see if I go to here. Oh, yeah. Dancy dog. He's like, what are you doing? Anyway, welcome. Hope you're all doing well. Good evening to some of you. Yes. Some of you are in Europe, right? So, my goodness, Taquita, what are we going to talk about today? What should we talk about today? Do you have any ideas? I think Taquita wants to talk about choice dog food, right? Good dog food's a good thing to talk about. Okay, back to the lap. She has her blanket on my lap to keep her warm and cozy. She's such a sweet little girl. And Athena is downstairs somewhere, and Melanie is running around here somewhere. Everybody's good? I hope you guys are all doing well. So, here, actually, I'm going to have Taquita go to the sofa. I've got a sofa that's got a blanket that she loves. Let's do that so that you're cozy. There. I have a hard time sometimes focusing when I have other live energy around me. Hello, Tom. Good to see all of you. Welcome. My goodness. Let's see here. Let me pause that video so that it's not taking up bandwidth on everything. I hope you all are doing well. It's been an interesting week. Now, one thing we should probably deal with sooner than later is talking a little bit about, I sent a newsletter out last night to everybody. Native Instruments has released a new version of Kontakt version 6.5, and it changes the behavior. From my understanding, there's something happening with Big Sur and Silicon Max in regards to audio unit plugins, how they work, and because of that, the companies are having to adjust their VST and audio because you can't release a plugin where it works one way for one format and another on another format. So if one format says you have to do it this way, all the other formats have to respectfully go along with that and change too. So because of this, Kontakt 6.5 has some different things as far as where files are located and error messages and so forth. We have found a solution. I'm very happy to say. So it requires a little bit more work on our part. It also requires, in the past when we release a library, the same library will work on PC and Mac. Because of the way that this works, there will actually be, excuse me, a version of a library that's a Kontakt library in Unify. There will be a version made for the Mac and a version made for the PC. Specific things. Basically, you can keep the Kontakt libraries on any hard drives that you want. When we build the Unify library, we will still use our save tool for example, on this computer, I can't even upgrade to 6.5 because I don't meet the system OS requirements. But what we basically do is we build the library in a very specific location that is known to both PC and Mac. And for the Mac, it's users shared, it's public, it's something like that for the Windows side of things. But we build the library there, and then what we do is we have an application Shane is making. Oh, it's now shown up magically on Dropbox, just like that. So Shane's been working on this. He's been trying to figure out a solution to this. We're really, really lucky. We've been able to talk directly to the guys that are in the development team at Native Instruments, and they've been great at working with us. It's really cool to have a cool relationship like that with them. So basically, we have this little Symlink. We're going to test this. This will be out in the next week. And I'm going to show you a Kontakt library that will also be out in the coming week. Super Audio Boy is going to be out. And also, I'm going to release one of my Kontakt libraries in Kontakt format / Unify format. So it'll be Unify patches for Del Norte. That will be coming out as well. And basically what we have is you have to basically run this app that, let's see here how it looks and everything like that. It will have a logo and stuff like that on the, I think maybe this is the old version. Let me see here. Is this the right version? Shane, I might have grabbed the wrong versions. Let me see here. Let's see, Unify. Because we were going to have, these might not be the final versions of this, but basically there's a README. Basically, you drag over one of your libraries, your Kontakt libraries, and let's see what's going on. Okay, done. That's the latest. Logo is the icon app. Oh, I see. The logo is here in the icon app, so you can get information and has Plugin Guru logo there. Okay, gotcha. Basically, you'll take a library that you've in Kontakt format. Unify needs to know where that library is at, and it will put it into a specific user's shared folder with this app. It will make a symbolic link to it. You don't have to worry with all the technical gobbledygook I'm kind of like going through a little bit, but basically you take one of your libraries that's wherever your hard drives are. Let's say that we had, I think I haven't even tested this yet. Select the folder you want to link to. You'd say find the source folder. Maybe you can't see all this stuff that's going on here. So let's go to sample mass, to the sample libraries. Say that I wanted something from the labs. So I'd say open this. And so it made a symbolic link and it placed it. Yeah, I'm giving too much information. We'll work out the details. We're still figuring this out, but basically Unify needs to know where the library is, and then the Unify library that we make works. The end user will just have to run the utility. Okay, yeah, you just run the utility and we'll tell you what to do. But basically we have to build the library from a specific location. I don't know if Stefano's on the stream, but Stefano can do this as well, but you put the library into a specific folder when we build the Unify library. And we modify the patches so that they're looking to this specific folder. And then when you get the Unify library, it's looking to the specific folder for where the library is. It could be on any hard drive. You have that folder with that application that we have, and it will make a symbolic link and place it in that folder. So it makes a copy by symbolic links are super, super small, and that's connected to the actual library. But Unify thinks the library is in that folder on your shared folder. So that's how we can get it to work and not pop up error messages, so in other words, those of you that own 6.5, don't worry. This will work for you with 6.5. This will work for everybody. So we have a solution. I sent a newsletter out to everybody yesterday saying, don't upgrade to 6.5. And I can imagine a bunch of you, you check native access and all of a sudden it says you have an update and you update automatically. It's too late. this will work for 6.5. So we have a solution. So don't go trying to contact Native Instruments and yell at them to give you 6.4 or something like that. This will work with 6.5, okay? So that's all I need to say. We have a little bit of testing. We want to get this library I'm working on to our beta testers to try and just make sure that it works and everything's good for them. And then we'll be able to get this to you when we have, we don't have libraries for Kontakt at the moment anyhow, except for the project Arturia that 0G has done. We'll be doing libraries this coming week, so we'll be supporting that. So what about Windows? Yes, there's a Windows version. There's a specific location on Windows. It's even more cryptic. Shane was explaining on Windows, when you run the application, you actually have to right click and choose the Open as Administrator to the application. So there's a few more hoops on Windows, because even if you have administrative access to your computer, it can't make a symbolic link unless you run the program in this administration mode or something like that. And then you can make symbolic links. But a symbolic link is basically like a shortcut on Windows or an alias on your Mac, but it's at a lower level than an alias or a shortcut. It's actually like a solid connection. In other words, Omnisphere, I have all the data for Omnisphere on a hard drive, symbolic link to where the folders are supposed to be on my main computer. My main computer thinks those folders are there. If I download updates, if I run updaters, it's able to connect. It thinks that hard drive, that folder that's on my external hard drive, it treats it as if it's on my internal hard drive. So they're really, it's a lower level type of an alias that doesn't break, that lets you do things like copying data and updates and all that kind of stuff. So it works for Windows. It's a little bit different. We'll have detailed instructions when we release this to the masses. I got to talk to Shane and work a little bit with different libraries, come in different formats. So when you're making a symbolic link, we got to make sure we know exactly what folder it is, all that kind of stuff. But that's coming, and it's going to work for everybody. 6.4, 6.5 of Kontakt will all be supported. But the libraries that we're doing are for Kontakt 6. So if you have Kontakt 5, they won't work, sadly. It's only for Kontakt 6. So that is where we are at on the Kontakt library tip. I did a video that I posted yesterday that I'm going to, step through and summarize a little bit of about MIDI files and how to personalize all of this DiscoverStation data. And this also works for all sorts of other places in the library where we're using MIDIBox, because MIDIBox is just playing a MIDI file. And if you turn off MIDIBox, now you can play whatever sound that is, and you can use your sequencer to make a new file for whatever it is. So let's explore that a little bit more, get a little bit deeper into it. I also have found a couple cool things that you guys should know about, and I want to show you. Let's start there. Let's have some fun. There's a new app. It's not new. I'm sure it's been out for a while, called TS, and they're actually at version at TS2. And let's see if I can get this to work. It's a time stretching program done by Aircam Lab, one of the big major development think tanks. They do some pretty cool stuff. And the reason I'm pointing this out is on audio plugin deals, I believe. They have this for, let me see, TS2. It's 82% off right now. They're doing one of these crazy, insane things where here's this library that should be 164 euros is available for 29 euros. Now, it's a standalone application. It doesn't, I don't think it has a plugin version that doesn't come with it for sure. But what it does sonically is pretty impressive. And so if you need something like this, here, let me put wait, go back here. If I go back, hello. Let me copy that link and put it into our stream. I'll also put it on our video description. So if you guys need, this is mainly for you guys that want to do sound design, you want to work with something that's like unbelievable quality pitch shifting, and it does some other cool things. I'll show you this really cool. So let's go here to sample master. We're going to play with a drum loop to start. So go sample libraries, drum loops. I have a cool library. This is actually a really old library from BT called BT Breaks from many, many years ago. All sorts of really cool stuff in here. Let's say live attitude. So it drags over. Now let me make sure by looking at OBS that you guys will hear this. Okay, there you go. So it's playing the groove. Right? Now, there's settings as far as to what the analysis is, what it's showing, how it's showing it. Here's where all the fun stuff is. Now, this is computational intensive, and I'm live streaming and running Logic at the same time. So if you hear crackle, I hear a little crackle. I don't know if you do, but format. Then it has this remix category where you can remove the transient or bring down the body so it's just transient. It's got this error level and then stretch so you can it just does some crazy So if you're into sound design, you need to manipulate things in cool ways. This is pretty sweet. Crazy stuff. Then they have all this patch point automation where you can automate these parameters. I don't know how to use this part of it, but by turning this on, and you go to this, I think you can I don't know. I haven't worked with this part enough to know how it works. But you can, it looks like, modify and have it change patch points from one point to another. Again, I didn't get this far in my studying of how it works to know how this works. But it looks like you can load all curves. They should have a randomize button. There's another program I'm going to turn you guys on to in a little bit that's more glitchy. That a friend of mine just introduced me to on a YouTube video. So we'll be talking about other applications for sonic destruction. And this one's free. Let me see if I find the name of that. I could at least tell you about it. Let's see, it's under applications. Anyway, I'm really impressed with this for time stretching for what it is. It's not real time. It doesn't work in your, let's see, when did I install that? Oh, I'm not going to see it in my list. It's like, I'm terrible with names. Anyway, go date modified. Yeah, I don't have it in front. So we'll do a sound design app live stream at another time. But it's just really cool how this works. It's on sale at a crazy price. So if you need this type of manipulation, that is something I can highly recommend. It's really nice, works very well. Okay, so TS2 from IRCam Lab is, would you like to save them? No. So that's one thing. Another that I wanted to point out was there is the free Kontakt library that we will have available in Unify format in 1 week. Probably next Thursday, I'll try to release it. and that's Super Audio Boy. I kind of see here, go over here. Get my audio up and running. There, so I'm back. And I showed this a week or two ago, I believe. So it's all sort of cheesy Game Boy sounds, really, really fun. Really lo-fi drum kits that are really cool. Pads, so actually some really interesting pads. There's like Dust Pad was really cool. Different vibe. And of course we can load others. So we can say load another into Unify. So this will be coming for free. You need to own this library. So if you don't own it already, you can go to Impact Soundworks is the company, and Super Audio Boy is here. I'll just give you the link right here. I think it might be in the video description already. Right here. That is a fun library of, and it works really well loading with Unify patches and all sorts of other libraries. I also want to show you another library that is from a label that has a whole bunch of loops. This is them all popped up. Function loops. They have what they call, like, let's see, what was it? The Function New Year Free Sample Pack. And it's got some really great stuff in it. Here is the link. I will put that into our chat. And one thing that I really liked in here was it the textures or the, yeah, these techno synths. This is a library I think is, especially if you're into dance music and stuff, check this out. This kind of highlights one of our plugins that is got some potential for doing all sorts of cool things in the future. It's working nice as it is now. Let's do this. Let's go to Airwave Melodic Techno. Let's load up one of these cool BPM splits. I've been playing around with, I love triangular beat. This is all Serum for everything you're hearing. Speed it up to 129 because all of these samples are 129 beats per minute. These first two layers are the bass, right? So let's turn the whole thing down just a little bit by holding down Option. Turn on one of these guys. Go to Guru Sampler, and instead of Guru Sampler, we're going to go to the audio file player. And by using the audio file player, we can click, and we can go over here and say, I want to take and load this. And then say open, and now it's currently connected to a MIDI arpeggiator going on here from Blue Arp on M1. So turn this off by setting it to raw. So this way it's just listening to just this without being retriggering. And off you go. Go over here to EQ, filter max, set to low pass filter. It's fun. There's all sorts of other loops and so forth in here. Oh. And it won't stop. I know how to fix that. Load something else. Hopefully it plays. I didn't mean to break it. Okay, if I broke it, just go to Utility, load audio file player again. Click to load. I haven't seen it do that behavior before, but that's kind of funky. Say load. You go through the list. They're all fun. They're all 129 beats per minute. So whichever one you choose, turn on loop so it keeps looping. Right? Go over here, duplicate this layer. Go to another auto file player. Choose another groove. And off you go again. So, and for some reason it's being stuck on, it's not seeing my note off for some reason, but you can use these loops for all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of other different, these are different libraries. A lot of these are $5 libraries, so they're very reasonably priced. And the quality is really, really good. I was really impressed. Also, it's a hi-hat for the side trance. The Latin acoustic guitars, if you're into chopping up audio files. Really cool stuff to play with. For some reason, the sample rate seems off. I don't think that's the normal sample rate of, let's see if I put it into Logic just to see what happens here. Change sample rates, convert the file. Okay, just slow. So this is 110 beats per minute. So we could go over here to Cloud City, see what happens if we have a drum group that can play along with that. Yeah. Find the tuning. So it's down 3 semitones. When you're doing some of this loop music, you're not really thinking about what key you're in, you're just adding to it. So you can go to the bells, add a jam. Let's take this down 3 semitones. Let's go over here, add delay, omega delay. Cool. So playing with audio loops is a really fun place. If you haven't played with this much, it's really fun to get grooves going that are using all this. Okay, so that is available. Those 3 freebies were kind of, or 2 freebies and a really like a no-brainer deal. If you're into sound design manipulation, check out TS2. Wanted to show those to you. So those are fun places to take, modify. They're all, it's the loops that they have. They have the tempo in them information-wise, as you can see. So when I went over here to the Latin acoustic guitars, it said the tempo right here, 110, 110. They're all 110, so they'd all been slowed down to 110. So that way you could combine them, and they all will work. So I could go back to my Logic song. Let's pop this over here and keep playing with this for a minute more. I'll show you a couple of other tricks. So let's, all you have to do in most of your DAWs is just drag over another audio file, and it will line it up and have it join the fun. Turn that off. So now if you wanted to, like if you were doing a remix, say this is for a cool, chill, down-tempo album, what I would do at this point, since I've added additional things in Unify, I would want to like put in some real-time controls with knobs. So I've added these two sounds. I would want to control the mix of those. This is one reason why we opened up to where you have more than just 8 knobs. So I can go to set 2, option, click the little bullet. I want to have maybe the, and you know, I could look at the main set over there to see what's going on, but I know the sub, I want to have that on a level. So bass level. And then over here, option, click on this and set this to the bell. So bell, mix level, double click bell. And then right here, let's say I wanted to, let's focus on this bell sound for a minute. Let's look inside of Unify and see what's going on. Do I want to bypass? Doesn't matter. I have a send to the reverb. I definitely want to play with that. So let's look at the knobs and see water verb is right here, number 4. Remember number 4. So that means you go over here. I'm going to do it the slow way, where you go up here to link parameters, and I'm going to click and I say bell jam. Now, it's a Unify plugin. I've loaded it as a Unify layer, which means you can't see inside of it. You see the knobs, the macro knobs. And in the future, we're going to have it so it says water level, because that's what I named this knob. Right now, it doesn't say that, so you have to remember the numbers. But number 4 is the water verb mix. So this is now changing that macro knob inside that Unify plugin that's on layer 3. So if I go to layer 3 and I go over here and I turn on the macro knobs, when I move this, see the water verb moving up and down? Now there's a delay. So let's also go over here. Happy after the live stream too. Smiley face. Hannah says hi. So macro 11, this is water verb. And then let's have this be delay. And say dirty since it was dirty, whatever you want to name it. See how it's gray? That means it hasn't been connected yet. So now let's go over here. Go to instrument, Unify, the third layer, Unify number 3. I can see right down here, it's a dirty delay. So by connecting it and then saying min max, so the real-time control for inside of, user question about Melodyne. Okay, so that's the control, that's the way that you would access to the layers of a Unify layer. There's assignments you can do. If I wanted to have, let's say I want to have a filter. I want a high pass filter on this. So I'd go EQ, filter max, high pass filter. Say I want to do that, right? So I first, because I put it inside this Unify layer, I first have to connect it to a knob in this Unify plugin. So we go over here, option, and click macro 7, go to that instrument, to the effects, to the filter max that I put there, to filter frequency. And now, so that is knob 7. I don't even need to name it. I could if I wanted to, but now I can go over here. I need to go instrument 3, Unify knob 7. And now they are connected so that, and I could say bell high pass filter. So now when I play my little groove here and I get everybody Moving along and it's playing. Oh, and I need to turn off solo. And now what I do is I could go over here to, instead of read, I just set to latch. And now it's going to watch whatever automation things I do and record it. So. Okay. So it's recorded all that in. So now when I play, it'll play back all the automation I did to these knobs. So I can now build my song with automation. And say I want this knob right here to control. This is where it gets super powerful with these knobs, because every plugin, no matter what is loaded, I can get my fingers into it from the macro knob. So I can go to the auxiliary send to all three of these layers and apply this so that they all change. Auxiliary send 2, and one more for auxiliary send 3. So now when it's playing back, didn't do it for the other ones. Oh, instrument 2. Oh, I know why, because it's just auxiliary 1. Luckily, you can double click and type in text here. So I want them all to be number 1. So now, there. You can change patterns, because the drum groove I started with was from Cloud City, where there's 25 MIDI files connected. So I could actually make a pass through this if I wanted to be silly, and I am wanting to be silly, and play with that. Okay, so now it's recorded that. So all this stuff is able to be automated to do all sorts of fun stuff. Here comes speed. So, and then if you're into glitch, you want to be like all broken and stuff. Record everything. You can go crazy places with the real-time macro knobs, changing parameters inside of whatever you have going on inside of Unify. So don't be afraid to explore these. There's 32 of them, so that you can easily just say, I want to connect, go to the link parameters page. This basically gives you a God mode of each of the instruments, auxiliary effects, and the master effects to any parameter of any plugin that's loaded. All of your third-party plugins, everything. So if you add something to an instrument list, then you just go instrument 1. I added noise box, and I want the wet dry mix. Boom, there it is. And then I can just change this, and you'll hear the change in real time. Because unlike any other plugin on the planet, we let you hear modulation sources in real time while you're changing and assigning the nodes. So lots of power, so much power. It's all about power, ease of use, and creativity. So we like to give you all of that. So that is a fun place to like remix any way you want, okay? So I had a question on Melodyne. What do I think of Melodyne? Melodyne's awesome. Love Melodyne. I use Melodyne to tune violin, samples for Mega Magic Violin, because violin, it's so easy to just move your finger a micro fractional inch and the tuning would change. And so Melodyne is real time. It works in kind of a weird way. In other words, you have the audio track inside of your sequencer and you run Melodyne and you hit the record button and then it plays. Here, you want to record this into Melodyne? Let's do this. Let's see how. No, I probably wouldn't not be able to easily do that, but I could bounce. Anyway, Melodyne, I highly recommend. I have Melodyne and I've used it for sound design. It's actually really scary. It kind of, the IRCam is cool. For the pitch stretching, it's very smooth and stuff like that. But Melodyne is on a whole different level because it gives you access to some parameters that let you do synthesis in a way to the audio. It gives you access to the individual pitches so you can change. I mean, the science in Melodyne is truly NASA level crazy good. So if you need pitch correction plus unique sound design things, I cannot recommend it highly enough. In fact, let's see here. If I go over, we'll take a detour. I'll show you Melodyne for a second, okay? So let's see here. Let me see if I can find some vocals somewhere. So if I go over here to my sample libraries folder where I have way too many libraries and samples and go to vocals and talking. Let's see here. Close all this up. Let's say vocal house. Okay, not that. What's going on? My computer is thinking, so please stop thinking. There's a lot going on right now, so it's like, hello? I broke it. Oh. There we go. Let's try male vocals, because those female vocals were a little on the... Yeah, we need to pitch correct that. So it's distorted and processed. So this will be a nice acid test. So let's go over here. Let's put this onto an audio track. And then when you run Melodyne on this track, so audio effects. Who makes Melodyne? I keep forgetting. I have so many plugins at this point. I think it's... Guys, who makes Melodyne? I can't remember the name of the company off the top of my head. Let's see here. Oh, Celemony. That's right, Celemony. Just hit me upside the head. Celemony. So audio effects, Celemony, Melodyne. And you hit up here, you hit transfer. Oh, go away. We don't need that. And now when I play my DAW, okay, so it recorded this in. It tried to figure out the pitch of everything. You can hear the Let's go to Logic and let's see, close Unify. Solo my microphone so we can have the two to play with. And then Melodyne. So you could do all sorts of things pitch wise, take the whole thing and stretch it out to be. So it takes it into crazy places where you can completely mess up the audio in some really interesting ways. So that was oops, and it's really weird and cool. I can undo, I believe it has, does it have multiple undos? Yes. So, I mean, I can't speak highly enough of this because... So it does all sorts of correction, quantize. You can nail everything down. Say, I want it to be pitch centered, no drift, 100% snap to E major. And then fix these notes that are out and turn it all so it's all singing You Need Love. Actually, I have a library called Creature-esque. I can show you a really cool example of how extreme you can take this work. So check this out. He was saying You Need Love, remember? We're gonna all put it all into one pitch. So now it's You Need Love. And then at the end there's a crazy stuff it can do. I use this for Creature-esque. Let's load this inside of, I can show this inside of Unify. So go here, turn off solo, select an empty track. Let's just call Unify real quick. Check this out. Unify. So my friend Jordan Rudis is playing with DiscoverStation and CoreStation right now. He just sent a message saying, "What is this crazy magic?" Maybe I can ask him to come on and join us maybe next week or something like that. So if we go to, check this out, Instruments, Guru Sampler. If you go to the Creature-esque library, I have some samples. These Latin samples. They're all set to the same tune. But I kept the singing of the Latin phrase in. So she was singing, hey, ho, hey, ho, something like that, right? And I took that all out and all made it. So Melodyne, it's great to be able to take vocal phrases and remove all the melody so it's all one thing so you can play chords with it. And the fidelity is great. So that's all super cool. Melodyne is great. So now the video I posted yesterday, let's play some more. This has been fun. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I just love making weird sounds, and Synaptic for pitch map is also great. Just so you know, a little history. When Jordan was with lots of long hair, he worked with me at Korg, and we toured together for introducing the Wave Station. He was part of the Wave Station voicing team. John Bowen, Jordan Rudis, and myself went to Japan. We played in Kobe, Japan. I have a videotape downstairs of the performance, playing songs that we wrote together. He's a dear brother. Love him dearly for many, many years, over 30 years of friendship. And he's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And so he's playing with Unify and DiscoverStation right now for the first time, seeing the MIDI files and what you can do to change things up to make it go all sorts of cool places, right? So I did this video yesterday about, God mode, taking the grooves of DiscoverStation or CoreStation and turning them into, let's go to mix, view, mix, delete all automation, just to make sure we reset and set this to read. The idea with this is that these MIDI files that are powering the grooves inside of DiscoverStation and CoreStation were created by Jeff Stradling and myself. But it's really easy to make your own MIDI files, put them in, and get them to work. So in yesterday's video that I posted last night, we take 16th Steady Adventure, which is a nice simple, simple. It's calling up 5 plugins in a single Unify layer, and one MIDI box is playing. Let's slow this down. Now, if you change from the Discover Station to the Core Station, it gets better sounding because Discover Station is an affordable entry-level library to get you going. But it's just one set of samples. So when you're playing something like this where there's a rhythm that's repeated, especially like right there, you hear bump, 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 bump. If we go to Core Station, let me show you the difference. Load the same patch. It's going to take it a minute to think, I think. And hear a difference? It's round robin and multiple samples. And so one note is changing. In Discover Station, it's just one sample. So you hear that same sample over and over again. It's a trick. It's an optical or audio trick because it's only maybe 3 samples. But if you go to the Core Station version, that they have different elements that make it sound like it's always changing. Okay, now the idea is really simple. This MIDI box right here is playing this groove. And if you turn this off by just hitting the B for bypass, now you're just playing on the keyboard. And in your sequencer, all you have to do, let's see here, if I go, give me a click. If I go, I just played in a simple, just octaves of C, nothing fancy. So all I have to do, let's see, is save this as a MIDI file from my DAW. Whatever DAW you use, there's an option somewhere to go export as a MIDI file. And just say string fun. And save it to the desktop. And here it is. So now you can go back to Unify. You don't have to use your DAW at this point. And just unbypass MIDIBox. Open up MIDIBox. Click in the little blue name of the file was how you open the MIDI selector to choose something else. Go string fun, open. And just like that, whatever you put in, it's gonna play. If you play all the same note, then you can play chords. This is all thanks to a parameter right here called polytranspose that allows you now, in a case like this where it's doing something big and then I might want to turn on notes. This sends notes through set even while I'm playing this. I didn't turn on notes for any of the patches inside of Discover Station. So this is something you will need to do yourself if you want. But for some of the MIDI files, they play something on the tone and then they're off doing other things. And so during that time, if you want to play something else, you can't, and you won't hear it because it's only going to trigger the notes when they exist in the MIDI file. By turning on the notes button, This says play notes whenever I play notes. So I can further personalize this performance instead of it just being where everything has to always be. By turning on the notes, I can. You get so much fun. Okay, and let's take it farther. I'm going to show you what we can also do. So we've got this MIDI file right here for the strings. Well, we got brass and we need woodwinds, and they also need to have fun. It's no fair. So if you go up here to the BPM orc, running free, this is the patch that I designed specifically to keep it simple. Some of these other ones have additional string bowing samples that are from Groove Sampler, stuff like that. So this is one of these things where let's first solo just the strings. This is what they're currently playing, but all I have to do, open MIDIBox, go boom, drag in string fun. And now, okay? Now, how would you orchestrate around this? Because I want to get the brass and the woodwinds involved. I'll show you. The best way for that I would recommend, because here's the thing. The brass are, they're doing their thing. Now I can try this with string fun, that MIDI file. Right? Kind of works. It'd be kind of cool to personalize it more, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this into 3 MIDI channels. You go over here to the MIDI channel select and say MIDI channel 1, MIDI channel 2, and MIDI channel 3. So now there are 3 separate MIDI channels. So now you go to Logic, and I can delete this MIDI file, or actually I'll just move it over here in case we decide to do something crazy to it later. And inside of the track selector, you can change it from all MIDI channels to 1, and then you can use, it might be different in different DAWs, but here there's an option to say new track with next MIDI channel. So this is one instrument that it's talking to multiple MIDI channels of that one instrument. So now I have MIDI channel 3 for the woodwinds. Oh, the other thing you have to do is you have to go over here and bypass the MIDIBox for the strings and the brass. Or for the brass and the woodwinds. I want to keep the MIDIBox for the strings on because I'm going to use that as my template. So here's my woodwinds. Here's my brass. And just like in the video that I did yesterday, I want to show you another cool trick. So this is a Unify layer for the brass. I'm going to open up this Unify layer and open up the browser, and now I can replace this patch with any other patch from any other like string library, brass library that I've made a patch for Unify. You go anywhere you want. I'm going to go to the brass that come with this, and I'm going to say I want the attack, I want the staccato brass. So I get the Discover Brass Staccato, and once it loads everything up, you can replace this with the Omnisphere patch or with a Super Audio Boy Kontakt sound or something from the Unify library or Cloud City. Anywhere you want to go, anything that's a Unify layer is wide open to go to the browser and replace it entirely just by choosing a new patch. So I've replaced the slow brass with staccato, right? So now all I need to do is go to part 1, the strings, and I'm going to record this. Okay. Now all I need to do is go to the other brass and decide what I want to do. Now, if I want, I could play just C's. And also notice that the brass currently have a window. They stop at G3. Don't go any higher. But if I raise this, it'll go up to the trumpets and stuff like that. So let's take the range all the way up so I can. So let's see what happens. So, oh, this is another thing you have to watch out for. If you're doing timing offsets like this to make the strings play a little bit sooner, because the string attacks are so that you have to be about 21 to 35 milliseconds earlier on the MIDI file playing for it to work. We're going to work on a fix, but right now it won't play the notes that are in this range. The downbeat notes don't play. They will play though if you go over here and do an offset. So if you go over here to the more and we say, where is it at? Delay. We want it to go earlier. Let's see if this will do it. No, it's got to be earlier still. No, maybe it won't if it's at actual 1, because I can go before that. So just go to MIDIBox and double click so it's at 0. And now, whoop. Oh, quantize. So maybe it would have done the pre if I did that and did the quantize. So if I went back here, set this to be, I think it's 25 or so. They don't play, right? So if I go to offset and delay it by a certain number of ticks, nope. Okay, well, we're going to work on a fix for MIDIBox because we want it to work so that if it plays, it still plays. If you set this to 0 by double clicking so that its lead lag is at 0, now it works. Okay, and let's go to the woodwinds and let's see what happens if we play a melody. I want to show you a little bit of difference if you have a melody in the MIDI file, what that does to it. You know, it's kind of minor that I'm playing, so let's go minor. So. Okay, so we have, I couldn't hear them very well. I don't know why, but the brass were really loud. So I have this melody. Now what's going to happen is when you play chords, it's going to kind of could be interesting. We'll find out. So let's use this control right here and say brass, fun, and wind fund. And then copy that name, export to the desktop, and copy that name, export that to the desktop. So here they are to be plugged into our interesting soup. So we can unbypass the MIDI boxes, go over here, here's the brass. So we just go to the desktop and we say brass. And we go to the woodwinds, and let's say winds from the desktop, winds. There. Now when I play a note, huh? What's happening? Why are you not playing? So wind, fun. Oh boy. Well, the brass are working. Oh, I know why. So now we have to put it back together. See how it's different MIDI channels? That means I'm only playing on the brass channel. If I go to MIDI channel 3, now it plays the woodwinds. If I go to 1, it's the strings. So what you do is you go back to Unify and set this to all. So now it will listen to all MIDI channels. And now, turn down the woodwinds. Because I played minor notes into the woodwinds, it's committed. And if I play a major chord, it doesn't work. So you have to be very careful and kind of cautious with how you build these. It's almost better just to play. I did the one I did yesterday came out so cool, and I played fifths and a little minor here and there, but just in little sprinkles of salt, you know, type of a thing. For a single note thing, really cool. Which means you could right click on all three of these for the top range and hit B. So now you stop it so it only goes up to B. And now, this is one of the cool things that we added. We can go to CoreStation Instruments. This gives you access to all of the instruments by themselves. Let's go to the French horn. Legato's here somewhere, I believe, right? Horn long, muted. Let's see, if I type in legato, we can see what we have for legatos. Let's say cello legato. Let's load that into a new Unify layer. And trumpet legato, we can add that into a new Unify layer. So we can have trumpet and horns legato. And horn, I see, that's what it is, horn. And then the lower range is set to C-2. Right click on each of these and then hit C. And now, where's my French horn? It might be just taking its time to load. So now I have a single note in the left hand, and I've made, let's take the cellos down an octave, hold down Option, and just drag on the transpose box, and it goes down by an octave. I think the French horns need to also be down an octave. And then let's turn these guys down just a little bit, because they're a little over-empowering, I believe. So you have the ability. This is the other side of the MIDI file thing, is you can commit more notes to it if you're going to make it a single note thing. Like if I wanted to make this like a crazy single note thing, I would do something like this. Let's go back and let's break this back into 3 different MIDI channels. We're going back into the operating room to work on our patient. And so 3, 2, 1. At this point, I would almost suggest saving this so you can call this back. So let's go save. If you don't have a library for your work, go say new library. And let's call this Plug-in Guru CoreStation JL. Confirm. And that way, when I save things, they're saved there. I can go running free 1 note minor, save as. I'm saving it to a new library. But now in the list, I'll have a library close by that's got my own saved presets. Turn off legato, call this up, and it remembers everything as it's currently set. because what I need to do, I'm going to hold down Option, and I'm going to get rid of the legato parts, and then I'm going to right-click on all these and play high C to give them back their whole keyboard range so that I can play them for making the MIDI file. So what I'm doing is I can now play everything. When I'm done, I can hit revert and go back to the way it was. So that's really fun. So now let's look at MIDI channel 1, 2, and 3. Let's go over here to MIDI channel 1. Okay, I want to keep this one because this is kind of my template, the minor flute woodwind part. So I'm going to just play one note. Okay, that's my template that I want to build the brass to be far more than just that. That's boring. And same with the strings. I want them to also be doing something more than just that. So I'm going to bypass. I've hit the B button to bypass the brass and the strings so that the woodwinds get to still keep playing there. So let's add a brass part. Let me think for a half a second. Okay, I got it. Okay, so that's... Now, the very first notes of this need to be a chord. And so let's be kind of sneaky. I like this chord right here, so I just copy, go to the beginning, get rid of that paltry single note, and paste. And let's see here. They need to be louder, more boisterous. Louder than that. Hold down Option and you overrule Logic's limits. And let's go, we want to go da-da. So we can make these short and go. And maybe... what the heck? We're on a rampage. We're going crazy. Ba-da-bum. Now the rest of these brass, a little anemic, so we're going to bring up their velocity. Again, MIDI velocity, once I hit 81, something in this list is hit 127. If you hold down Option, you can override that so you can just keep cranking. Let's take these first three here, copy, go to measure 2, paste. Cool, that's gonna be fun. And then for the strings, we need to have like some sort of a big, here we go. I missed my downbeats. Okay. My woodwinds are kind of like rambling on, but that's okay. So let's say one note strings and one note brass. By the way, I'm going to give you guys all these MIDI files as a bonus. Probably next week, I'll have a little bonus thing added to DiscoverStation with some other goodies I'm going to give everybody that owns the library. Export, paste, desktop, copy, export, paste, the brass. Oh, I want to move, that cancel. So go like that. So now let's go back to here. And let's unmute, and we need to remember to actually, hey, revert. Let's first revert to get our solo horns back and stuff like that, right? Go over here. Your camera image is all black. Uh-oh. Probably the battery died. I can fix that. Oh. Let me go to OBS because it's out of focus to start. And like, ooh, scary. When the beard's in focus, the rest is too. Sorry. Okay, so we're back. Hello. Let's go to the strings. Open MIDIBox. Instead of strings fun, we're going to one-note strings and loading that. And instead of the brass playing brass fun, we're going to one-note brass. And now, change every MIDI channel to 1 so that they all play. And maybe I'll take them up an octave. Fun. Then go to chorus station. We need a BPM drum thing to play along with this. So let's say Country United. Load this into a new Unify layer and turn it down because this particular one is, the drummers are pretty fired up for sure. And let's have them right click and say B, so that way they only play down here. You can use offset. Let's bring it to velocity. So fun stuff. You can take it to all sorts of interesting places, and it gets far, far deeper if you start making multiple MIDI files. So you have one phrase and then another phrase and another phrase. A great example of those is to study not so much the BPM drum, but the BPM strings down here in the multi-time meters. Jeff Stradling made a whole bunch of different variations. When you go 7/8 string adventures, if you open MIDIBox, it's a stack that we have with 5 different MIDI files playing. So if I set this to be 150 beats per minute, because these are fast. And then you spin that knob on knob 8 as pattern. These are different MIDI files being called up. So it gets super fun what you can do. So the possibilities of what you can do with this. Here's Jordan playing DiscoverStation. He just sent this to me. See if I can turn this up. So exciting. So we'll share more of this as we go, but he's very happy with what he's finding. So that makes me super excited. That's really fun. So any questions? I want to see what you guys are chatting about how do you create MIDI stacks? Good question. MIDI stacks is a type 0 MIDI file, and it's done by basically making, oh, I gotta tell Jordan really quickly. So let's say we wanted to do a string MIDI stack of our own rhythms. I'm gonna just really quickly record. I'm gonna turn off MIDIBox by just hitting bypass, right? So I can just play this. Even though it says 7/8, when I load new MIDI files in, it will recognize a new time signature and not be 7/8. You don't have to set anything there. Maybe slower. I'm not up to the... 2, 3. Okay, so I have 3 different things I have created. Let's see if this... So if we go measure 1, 2, 3, Command T, then go measure T, 1, 2, T, T. So I have 3 different MIDI files here. 1, 2, 3. In Logic, the process to stack them up, say strings 1, and then it'll name each one, and then you select all of these and you save it as a MIDI file. And it doesn't matter where they're selected. I haven't noticed whether they're, if these don't need to be different MIDI channels, it will convert them all to be one MIDI channel. Multi-sequence is kind of what MIDI file type 0 is. So now when I go up here to export, and it says there's 3 regions. It recognizes them. Export the selection as a MIDI file. I call this a strings stack. I just name it stack so I know that it's a stack of more than one MIDI file. Okay. And now I can remove those, go back to Unify, turn on MIDIBox, open this up, and when I drag over the stack and load it, Unify is smart in MIDIBox, and it sees the 3 different patterns. So I can two, 3. My timing was off, but oh well. Now, in order to get this so you can change that parameter, you would go to your real-time knobs, and it's just right here. Let's get rid of this so we do it again. You go Instrument, 1, MIDI Effects, because we're using MIDIBox, and the top thing is track number. And that is the parameter that's there. So, and by giving it the full range, I can now, by just moving my knob, change from 1, 2, 3. So you can have a stack of 90 MIDI files, and you can spin through this, and it will change to select the different ones at different times and make new patterns. Like what's so fun with this is it's you playing. If you play soft to hard, the strings are going to respond that way. This isn't clicking on a little arpeggiated board, even if it looks really nice with really nice icons and stuff, and it's all the same velocity. This is you put in your own velocity, your own duration. It's your DNA. You get to play into the MIDI file what you want it to be, and then and again, I find sometimes I want to have the bass note so I can play along, have a really good time. Now I put melody in and look what happens to the chords. I'm playing a minor chord. Goes to my major. So in the future, that's one of the things we want to look at is making MIDIBox smart so it can know the chords that you're playing, the mode you're in, and appropriately shift the notes that need to be shifted so that it stays playing. If you're playing a minor chord, it stays minor. It's not there yet. It's not implemented. But it'd be something that we have on our list we want to look at in the future for sure, okay? But that's super, super fun to play with. So, Jordan's quote, I'm going to be tracking Dream Theater keyboards starting February 15th. I definitely want to use all this. So, right on. So fun. Cool. Okay, so let me see what other questions you might be throwing out here. So, Stack Info, you're welcome. It's very easy to make. Now, some sequencers don't let you make MIDI file type 0. So you'll have to experiment with your DAW of choice. Oh, Pierre, thank you. Yeah. It's inspiring. I'm thrilled that we were able to do something. Like I said, we've been working on this for like months. I've been teasing you guys with what this could do for a very long time. And it's really fun. It's finally here and it's working. So you can call up the sounds. It's just the idea of taking a plugin that has such great sounds, but it's got limitations, you know? It's only one sound at a time. It doesn't have all these unique abilities that we just augment and make it so now you can play strings and pianos. And then when you're done with this, go, I want fast strings, and now you have fast strings to... You know, it's all there to work with. I will point out DiscoverStation/Core Station Library introductory price is available for 3 more days. Monday night at midnight, it is bye-bye and back to $59 retail, which is still a great price. Like this. So, so fun, exciting stuff. Good. Any questions? John, when do you share your Nora library with us? I'm working on it. I wanted to suss out what was going on with 6.5. It's not in here. I can. It's close. We have some more patches to save. Chances are, maybe I can have that available for next week too. So that when we do, we'll do a big release of Kontakt library support. We're gonna have Del Norte will be available. I can show you a little bit of that right now. And Noir. I wanted to do Project Exodus because it's a free library, but unfortunately the samples aren't in tune. And so that requires a level of labor that's time intensive. So I don't know how long it's going to take. We'll see about that. But Noir is very close. I've gotten a lot of the felt library saved, all the pianos, a lot of the particles. It is so fun. I love this. And the Pure is also getting close. I've got some stuff there done. That's really nice. Del Norte, right now it's only 2 patches. Taylor is working on this week, so it will be done soon. This is a library I've created for Kontakt. So you can open Kontakt and see the interface that we designed for it. You basically have an attack and a body. We don't need the browser here. Let's see, go over here, turn off the browser. So with this, I think it's under snapshots that we have. Oh, I can see them here, Del Norte. So there's some killer pads and so forth in here. This is a library that was really fun to make. I'm gonna recreate this, maybe do a Del Norte 2 later this year. I went to the Redwoods in like May, a couple years ago, and took my Virus TI and my drone and my camera, and I took pictures everywhere I went during the day, and then I came home and made sounds on the Virus and sampled them. And then these are patches. Really cool stuff. It'd be really fun when these are unified, so you can load multiple layers to make. Right now I have to go like this and say duplicate this layer and then open up the other Kontakt. And let's go to bells. There's some cool bells in here that are fun. I'd probably put more of a reverb on this. So reverb, maybe Zen verb. So that's going to be coming out. So those libraries I probably will be able to have ready next week. Now, if you want to build a library with a Kontakt instrument, please contact us. There's some very specific things a developer has to do. The library has to be built with the original samples and patches in a folder in your shared folder. You have to build the library and save the Unify patches so that it thinks everything is in the specific folder. Then you guys that own the library, that put it wherever you put it on whatever hard drive, we have an application that will make a symbolic link to reference it back to this place where it was created. And it will think that it was created there. You don't get any error messages. Everything loads. Life is beautiful. Okay? So that's kind of the design idea that we have for this. Cool. Any other questions for what we're doing? Yeah, it's a unified version of Del Norte. We haven't gone to this. The next step in the future will be to put all of my samples into Unify. And that will happen probably in a year or so, year or two. I don't know. It's an awful lot of work. There's like 11 gigabytes of samples. There's 3 gigabytes, 2 gigabytes inside of the standard library. So it's just a selection of my favorite patches, sample-wise, from all of the libraries I've done. But you know, you open up Guru Sampler and you see these different libraries. These all have 1+ gigabytes of samples. So it's a lot of data to get in for the Unify version, which we will make at some point. That would be really fun. But we're still going through and just getting compatibility with all the existing libraries so that if you own Kontakt, Del Norte works with Kontakt 5. So that library does, but we'll probably save the actual patches. I don't know. I could almost save them in Kontakt 5 format. So maybe they would, we'll see. And I still think it's Kontakt 6 we're going to be using. So you'll need to own Kontakt 6 to make all this stuff happen with the different libraries. Do you still have Herbie's phone number? Somewhere. No, we haven't unified Northern Lights. That's one that's on the list to get unified. Please save Kontakt 5 patches. I think we've already started Kontakt 6. And unfortunately, the thing is starting with Kontakt 6, it looks like they've gone to the name Kontakt. And we're hoping they just keep that name for everything, so then it doesn't matter the version, but maybe it will. I don't know. But I think we've already started Kontakt 6, unfortunately. I'll talk to Taylor, because I believe he has 5. It wouldn't take that long to save it in Kontakt 5 format. All right. Any plans to do Del Norte for Omnisphere Unified? Yes. Well, that's on the list for sure. It's not as fun for me because the samples are only a single sample, unless you get to the multis. Actually, you know what? I think we've... Let me check. I think Del Norte is one of those that might... It's already been unified, or it will be in the process to being unified. I think I have it. Hold on a second. Go Unify and plugin. O2. Yeah, there's a work in progress version of Del Norte. That should be maybe next week too. Maybe I can get everything to come together. That's a lot of work, but let's see what we can do. But yeah, I have a work in progress version of Del Norte going that was sent to me. I think there's some combinations, or not combinations, but the multis don't quite sound right compared to the way. A lot of this is work that lovely Plugin Guru Nation customers have done. And so a lot of times they'll make the multis as a single patch, and I want to pull them out so that it's separate patch layers for each element of the Omnisphere multi, because that way it can, let's see here, Del Norte. Yeah, we're pretty close. I believe somewhere in here we get to the multis, and I found some problems with the multis that I need to fix. So the challenge is that this is a library where it's using up to 8 samples across the keyboard to play the pads. And that's right, there's some octave off things that happen for the multis. So there's quite a few multis that need to get fixed. All the patches themselves, these play and work fine. The synths, all that other stuff, the BPM stuff seems to be working. So we're close. I think I can get the EDM version, EDM Chill, Del Norte for Omnisphere. We'll try to get that next week too. Just make it a whole Del Norte fun weekend, okay? So thank you for joining. Let's do our shout outs. The Balkan music I still miss. Daniela, I'm not gonna do Balkan music. Sorry, just telling you right now, that is not on the radar. You can do Balkan music, go for it. I have no plans for Balkan music, but you go for it, okay? All right, shout out from PDX. Yeah, is there a patch count in Unify? It's if you go to the standard library and show in the Finder, it should pop up and say it's 538 patches. It's a lot to start with. And then the Cloud City library has a massive amount of patches. Let's see. Oh, you guys are shouting out. Okay. We got Camino, Idaho. Right on, Ken. Good to see you. Birmingham, UK, Quebec, Canada. Hi, Pierre. Best from San Francisco, Michael. Next time I'm down there to see my daughter, I'll give you a note. I'll say hi and see if we can meet for a tea or coffee or beer or something. Shout out from Ireland. Sonas, good to see you. Ivar and Ire in you're in Norway. That's right. I will find people that help you. I don't think that Balkan music is a big market, so I don't think we will. I'm sorry, but that's not something I want to pursue. I have so limited time to do what I want to do that if you want to get with people and have them make MIDI files for you and stuff, go for it. Woody, good to see you, my friend. Woody with the Piano Shack. Follow his channel. Bit disappointed about the Balkan music situation. I'm we can talk about it. It's just I have a hard time selling enough libraries when it's for a certain popular style of music. But maybe there's a market I don't know about. Anto in Dublin, Bernie in Switzerland, our friends in Canada, in Romania for Daniela. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this. Getting into MIDI files and putting them into different tracks and all that kind of stuff is so much fun. I'm going to put patches together with the MIDI files that I've made from last night's video and from today. And those will be bonus patches that we'll release in an updated version of DiscoverStation probably by Saturday. We'll see. I got a whole lot. You guys put a lot on my list. My gosh. So got a lot to do. So good to see you all. Thank you for joining. God bless. Be creative. Hands together, head bowed. Taquito says goodbye from over here in the corner. Melanie wishes you her best. Yeah, I know nothing about the style. So if you find someone to make the library and we can distribute something that somebody creates, that's one thing. I can't play Balkan styled music. That's just something I have no knowledge about. Okay. Thank you all. Okay. Thank you, Alan McDonald. Right on. You're sold. Cool. Enjoy. The first thing that you have to do with Unify that's just so fun. When you get Unify, this is what makes us different from everybody else. Call up a keyboard sound. Go down to a pad sound. Right click and say load into new Unify layer. You just added a patch into Unify. And then we could say load another patch, Tyrell's Demise, load that. This is something nothing else can do. You can make your own patches using any plugin and then load them into each other. It's groundbreaking, mind-blowing, super fun. All this stuff with MIDIBox and all that is, cherries on top of the ice cream sundae. The fun thing with Unify is that all these sounds are able to be building blocks to add to something else. Let's say we go to guitar, load this. And then I could say, give me a new empty layer. And I could say, go to my favorite piano, whether it's inside of Omnisphere's Keyscape or wherever, and load it. To get the libraries into your various plugins, hit the little plugin icon. And if you have a lot, you can use the batch to say, scan for updated VST plugins or whatever format, or just select plugins files to scan. Go to your VST folder and choose just a couple that you want to play with to start with. You don't have to have every plugin all at once in there to start. But now that we have Omnisphere here, we can go to Keyscape and go Keyscape library. Let's go to I like the nice dark score. Hold down Option and drag down and so you can add any plugin, load any layer, and it sounds beautiful. On the output, always make sure that you have a loud max at the last step. This is a little Unify Standard Dynamics Loud Max. And if you want to sweeten it just a little bit, have it like do a little threshold of -3, so it just brings up the softer stuff just a little bit. And now if you go over and it hits red, it won't distort. Well, it distorts a little bit, it sounds better. And then there's tons of videos we've made on YouTube to get you going. Super good. Okay, I think we've had a good time today. Thank you all for joining. You guys are a wonderful, supportive family. We love expanding on Unify. Good things in the future coming. Good times. All right, be well.